What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is M, and today we are introducing the sand rail to the channel. We're going to discuss the sand rail, the drivetrain, plans for it, what we need to do to get it running and driving once again, and then what we are going to further do and want to do. There are things that need to be done, and there are other things that we want to do. So let's go ahead and get into the specifics. This sand rail was built back in the 70s, possibly the 80s, and it is powered by a 1.6 liter dual port Volkswagen motor. It's made it to a Volkswagen bus transaxle, and there are a couple of modifications already done. So, speaking on what is already done to this sand rail, this exhaust right here is a Bug Pack Stinger exhaust. It has been weathered, and I need you guys to give your input on what you think we should do. Me and my pops are debating exactly what I would like to do with it. I can have him take it to work, sandblast it, and we can paint it. Or, I was thinking, we clean it up just a little bit, and then we clear coat it and keep the patina. It just shows how weathered the motor is. And actually, let me give you a little bit of insight into how crazy the weathering is on this motor compared to the usage. This was a fresh rebuild. It was driven about 10 miles or so, and then parked for 7, maybe 8 years. I'm surprised it is not a lot worse.
Yeah.
So, this Bug Pack exhaust, it sounds great. They are a nice exhaust. So, do I paint it, or do we clear coat it after cleaning it up a little bit and making that patina pop? Whatever I end up doing with the exhaust, I will also be doing to the shifter as well as the fan shroud cover, so let me know down below. Other than the exhaust, there is an angle 110 cam inside this motor. So, that comes with lifters, springs, and push rods, I believe, as well. Don't quote me on that. I didn't put it in there. They also require, I believe, a double valve spring for the angle 110 cam. But no matter what, I know 100% it is a valve spring upgrade with a lifter upgrade.
I remember you
So
telling me that.
push rods would only make sense. You know what I'm saying? So, other than those two modifications, there is one more major modification that is worth some money and worth some power and efficiency, and that would be the dual carburetor kit. This specific dual carburetor kit offers horsepower gains while maintaining efficiency, so I'm excited to see how things go with these. This is, I believe, 60 cubic inches, which is not crazy whatsoever. Although 60 cubic inches does not seem like a lot, the amount of power that these engines made per cubic inch, it was impressive. And they are lightweight motors that are very good at dissipating heat. So they were just known to be a great motor for sand rails and, of course, you know, your Volkswagen buses and everything else. And they were easy to work on for the average Joe. And they were not expensive as well. So they just have a whole lot going for them. They're great on gas. Very low maintenance, and when you got to do the maintenance, it's easy. The only thing that, you know, might be a pain is the type of oil that you need to use, just because of how old the engine is. Yeah. But I mean, these engines are sought after for these types of things. Now, this is a 1600cc motor. It's the dual port, so it makes more power. It's more efficient than the rest of the motors. It is nicknamed the Super Beetle motor. A lot of people build these motors to 1765, 1800cc, all these different variations. At this point, we are going to get it running as is, and we will take it from there. Let's talk about some other things that need to be done. We never saw if the clutch works, so I'm going to set up the camera to see if the clutch works.
The cable looks good.
Right there, you should see some movement. We'll be talking about what we need to do in a moment, and well, there's a hint. Throttle cable was already snapped. So as y'all can see, everything is all good with the clutch pedal. When we checked with the throttle pedal before off camera, things didn't go as well. That moves us into the next segment of the video. Here is what happened. This is a roller throttle. And this is what happened when I applied a pinky toe's worth of pressure. Yeah, it just kind of snapped up out of right in here. And now that needs to be reran. So I popped you back right over yonder so me and Pops can stand here and explain a little bit about what we got to do. Because, well, there's a list. Let's go over it. So we are going to start with what we need to do to get this thing running and driving again. You know, just have fun with it. So we need to clean up and possibly rebuild this brake fluid reservoir or replace it because, well, it's horrendous. So moving on, we need to check on the rear drum brakes. There are no front brakes whatsoever. So I could spend a lot of money and have front brakes, but we're not doing that. Not yet. And then moving on, we need to address the ignition. We have probably like 35 keys in the shop, and after moving things from the garage, we may have a key for this, or we might just have to put in a new ignition. It might be quicker to buy a cheap ignition on Amazon and just make shit shake. We already addressed we need to run that throttle cable, and another thing on the list was check on the clutch. There we go. We do need to clean up the carbs, and we may even have to rebuild them. They were freshly rebuilt, but after sitting for 7 years, who knows? So stay tuned for that. The battery that is in the sandrail is completely toast, I believe, so we most likely need a new battery. For the bug pack exhaust, we need some of these springs. I believe I need 4 of them, and you know, that shouldn't be too hard. And then from there, I bet you can see there's play in the steering box. So that play needs to be taken out. We will be doing that, and then we will be greasing the steering box. So that is another 2 things on the list. The gas tank needs to be cleaned, the fuel filter needs to be replaced, and the gas cap does as well. It was lost out on the trails, not by me, but it happens. We also have to check the fluid in the transaxle. That hasn't been done in maybe 7, 8, or 9 years. All right, so last couple of things on the list. We need to check the wheel bearings for wear and grease them. And then last thing on the list is going to be doing an oil change, but it's going to be a little bit more than that. We are going to flush the motor out, and then eventually there will be fresh oil in there, and we will do a slight break-in, you know, put it around, cruise it around some more, and then slowly work our way into wide open throttle.
Blowing it up.
Yeah, probably blowing it up. It happens.
That's what it's all about, having fun.
We want to see how quick it is anyways. With these modifications, it is supposed to push, you know, decent power. It is supposed to be able to make, you know, not the most power, but a nice amount of power for a 1,000, maybe 800-pound frame to move. I mean, it doesn't take much to go quick. And yeah, I mean, hold on. This really isn't nothing. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about what else we need to do, as well as things we want to do. And now that we have the shop and can work on things all winter long, some of these things are going to be able to get done. You know, seeing that I'm not going to be out in a driveway, we can lay some paint down on this frame and do quite a few other things that we wouldn't be able to do without the shop. So we do need to repaint this. This isn't really my style, and you know, it's John Deere themed. It's all right, but it's not my thing. I'm thinking black and an accent color. I think that would be cool. What are your thoughts? Drop them down below. And then we do need some new harnesses. It's not necessary for the first drive or anything like that to get it running, but it is something that needs to be at the forefront of the list. And then this passenger seat needs to be bolted down a little bit better.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit. We'll fix it. We will eventually get new seats, but there needs to at least be some padding added to the passenger seat so these bolts are not making people uncomfortable when they are coming along for the ride. And then these tires are not the best. The rears are worse than the fronts. The rears are going to need to be replaced a lot sooner than the fronts, but they do need to be replaced eventually. They're not hazardous to a fault yet. Maybe a tiny bit. And then there are some welds that I would like to redo. I have to buy a new welder. Things happen, so I have to wait until I buy the new welder. But that is something that is going to be done over the winter. And then there is a light bar for the sand rail, so that will be mounted shortly as well. And then another thing that we will need is a windshield. This is, you know, so we're not eating bugs and just constantly having air rush on us. But other than that, this is going to be a road legal rail. So that is the goal. And well, a windshield is one of the main components that you need on the state list for Michigan. And then alongside all the other things, just to quickly list some things, not all things, we're going to need turn signals. The light bar will serve as the brights. Now you have to have a windshield wiper that is electronically activated. It cannot be a hand activated one anymore. I think I will have to mount a sprayer and reservoir as well for the windshield washer fluid. Whatever, if I have to, I will.
They go that far?
They go that far nowadays.
Shit.
So the turn signals, headlights, brights, tail lights, you know, all those things, and then a rear view mirror and 2 side mirrors. You do not need all 3 mirrors, but I would like them personally. So those are some other things that will be on here just to please me and please the state. And then you guys might have noticed that it's a little bit tooted up in the rear end. This is basically off-road mode. So this is designed to allow for more clearance when off-roading, so you can jump it a little bit and everything else. But I personally do not like the way it sits, so that will be changing most likely in the next video. I really do want it to sit a bit low. I can't have it too low. I need it to be able to get in and out of these driveways and up and down these hills. Other than that, we can clear by millimeters and I will not care. And then me and my pops will be fabricating either a dash or a console, whatever you want to refer to it as, and we're not even sure exactly what it's going to entail yet, but there's going to need to be a place for the speedometer. We need a speedometer, and I'm going to do GPS rather than, you know, run a wheel speed sensor and everything else like it's an old school bug. And on top of that, for all of the lights and everything else and the ignition, there needs to be a spot for the switch panel and everything else all in one. Just condense everything, simplify everything, and make it look nice. So that is something that is going to happen. I'm not sure if I'm going to be welding something up, but we'll figure it out. And due to clearance down here, especially if I have a larger passenger with myself, there's not going to be too much room, so we can do something slim right here, but we may have to do a switch panel somewhere up here, which would honestly be kind of cool. We have no idea, but switch panel placement has to be prime. That is about it. There are quite a few other things that will need to be done, but that is the gist of everything. Join us on this journey of getting this running again and transforming it into not just a fun sand rail, but a street legal street rail. All of these things are definitely something that need to be done, as well as other things that we want to do to take the build further, and you just got to stick around to find out. But one of those things is definitely cup holders for us to be able to cruise this around in the spring and summer and just comfortably cruise and enjoy our day. We need some minor amenities, but other than that, pretty prime. So Pops is gonna do 1 and 2. I'm gonna do 3 and 4, and it's awesome because it's literally labeled 1, 2, and then where's it at? 4, 3. So, and then we will be pulling these air filters off and at least spraying the carbs. It doesn't look the bestest, but it doesn't look the worstest. So we might have a full rebuild on our hands, or Marvel Mystery Oil and transmission fluid might do the trick. Either way, this thing will run no matter what. So stay tuned. This second one is leaning more towards bestest, but it's definitely still not bestest. Yeah, this is definitely making us more happy though. That's
the only little bit
great.
That was in there.
It looks like it was running rich though. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that came out damn easy. That looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we may have 3 good, 1 bad, and that would be a great scenario. And yeah, so we have 3 that look like this, and 1 that looks, it's oxidized a little bit and whatnot. We might just have to clean up that 1 cylinder, but we'll see what happens. So spark plug is back in cylinder 4. Now I'm about to do cylinder 3. Then I will do cylinder 2, and cylinder 1 is about to get, well, taken care of after everything is said and done with the transmission fluid. Finishing up by putting these spark plugs back into cylinders 1 and 2. 2, getting the spark plug first. All right, time to pull the filters on the carburetors and spray a little bit of BP blaster in there. So while this is sitting, those will sit, and we can see what happens.
We'll have to get some of that.
So Pops is just gonna hit this with WD-40 real quick because the BP blaster was old and not working.
Blaster.
We gotta go get some more. Yeah.
All right.
So we done. So we're going to let the sand rails sit, and in the next episode, we're going to clean the carburetors, address the brake fluid reservoir, and a couple of other things such as the battery, ignition, and all of that, and hopefully we can get the first startup. So stay tuned, especially for the sand rail build series. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.